Welcome to Serenity Palace. Have you ever found yourself pulling away from intimacy, valuing your independence so much that relationships feel suffocating? Maybe you've been told you're distant, closed off, or emotionally unavailable. If this sounds familiar, you might have an avoidant dismissive attachment style. In today's deep dive, we'll explore what this attachment style really means, how it forms, and how it impacts adult relationships. Stick around. This insight might be the key to unlocking healthier, more meaningful connections. What is the avoidant dismissive attachment style? At its core, the avoidant dismissive attachment style is marked by a reluctance to get emotionally close to others. People with this attachment style often prize their independence, sometimes to the point of avoiding emotional intimacy altogether. They may come across as self-sufficient, composed, and even emotionally distant. But underneath that, there's often a deep-rooted discomfort with vulnerability and trust. People with this style might say things like, "I don't need anyone," "I'm fine on my own," or "emotional closeness feels suffocating." They tend to shy away from relying on others and may feel uncomfortable when others try to rely on them. While independence is generally seen as a positive trait, those with an avoidant dismissive attachment can take it to the extreme, sacrificing closeness and intimacy in relationships. The seeds of this attachment style are planted in early childhood. According to attachment theory, the relationship between an infant and their primary caregiver plays a significant role in shaping how they relate to others later in life. In the case of avoidant dismissive attachment, it often stems from a childhood where a caregiver was emotionally distant, unresponsive, or unavailable. The child learns that their emotional needs won't consistently be met, so they adapt by becoming self-reliant. Instead of seeking comfort from their caregiver, the child begins to shut down their emotional needs. This isn't necessarily the result of neglect or lack of love. Sometimes, the caregiver is simply overwhelmed, stressed, or dealing with their own emotional challenges. They may still provide for the child's basic needs, but struggle to offer the emotional attunement that creates a secure bond. Imagine being a young child who cries out for comfort, but instead of receiving nurturing and support, you're told to toughen up or handle it yourself. Over time, the child learns that expressing emotions leads to disappointment or rejection, so they begin to suppress their emotional needs altogether. They adapt by becoming self-reliant and emotionally detached, believing that others can't be trusted to meet their needs. As these children grow into adults, they carry this belief into their romantic and social relationships, often avoiding emotional intimacy as a way to protect themselves from potential pain or rejection. So how does this early emotional blueprint play out in adult relationships? Let's break down some key characteristics of avoidant dismissive attachment. Independence is a hallmark of the avoidant dismissive attachment style. People with this attachment often feel that relying on others or having others rely on them is a threat to their autonomy. They prefer to handle problems on their own and might view asking for help or emotional closeness as a sign of weakness. Emotional intimacy is difficult and is uncomfortable for those with an avoidant dismissive attachment. People with avoidant attachment styles often keep others at arm's length, both emotionally and sometimes physically. They tend to avoid deep conversations about feelings and may downplay the importance of emotional connection. This emotional distance can make them seem cold, aloof, or uninterested in their partner's emotional needs. even if that's not their intention. Avoidance of vulnerability at all costs. Those with this attachment style often downplay their emotions, and opening up emotionally feels risky and uncomfortable. So they tend to avoid situations that require emotional exposure. In fact, they may feel embarrassed or weak for having emotional needs in the first place. While avoidant people may enjoy the company of others, they often struggle with the discomfort of deep emotional closeness. They may feel overwhelmed or suffocated when a partner tries to get too close emotionally, leading them to pull back. Keeping partners at arm's length in relationships. Avoidant dismissive individuals often maintain an emotional distance. They may be hesitant to fully commit or engage deeply with their partner, leading to complaints that they seem closed off or emotionally unavailable. This can make it difficult for their partners to understand how they're truly feeling, leading to frustration and confusion in relationships. Due to their discomfort with emotional closeness, people with this attachment style often prefer casual or fleeting relationships. These low-stakes connections allow them to maintain their autonomy and avoid the vulnerability that comes with deeper intimacy. Those with an avoidant attachment style often have a deep fear of being dependent on others. They may believe that relying on someone emotionally will result in disappointment, rejection, or a loss of control. As a result, they maintain emotional distance as a way to protect themselves from becoming too dependent on their partner. They have a tendency to dismiss others' emotions, as avoidant dismissive individuals may have difficulty empathizing with or validating their partner's emotions. They might view emotional needs as burdensome or unnecessary, which can lead to tension and misunderstanding in relationships. The avoidant dismissive attachment style can create significant challenges in romantic relationships. While these individuals may be perfectly fine being single, they often find it difficult to maintain long-term relationships without feeling overwhelmed by emotional closeness. Having a fear of commitment. People with an avoidant dismissive attachment style often struggle with commitment, fearing that it will restrict their freedom or autonomy. As a result, they may resist taking the next step in a relationship, leaving their partners feeling frustrated or rejected. There's an emotional disconnect. Partners of avoidant dismissive individuals often describe feeling emotionally neglected. While the avoidant partner may be physically present, their emotional detachment can leave the other person feeling lonely or unfulfilled in the relationship. They tend toward conflict avoidance. Conflict in relationships can also be a source of stress for avoidant dismissive individuals. Rather than address problems directly, they may withdraw or shut down, avoiding the issue altogether. This can create a cycle where problems are never fully resolved, leading to growing dissatisfaction on both sides. If you think you might have an avoidant dismissive attachment style, here are a few questions to reflect on. Do you find yourself pulling away when a relationship starts to get serious? Are you uncomfortable with displays of emotion, either from yourself or your partner? Do you prioritize that independence and autonomy over emotional closeness? Have you been told by partners that you're emotionally distant or unavailable? Do you avoid relying on others, even when you could use their support? If these questions resonate with you, it could be a sign that your attachment style leans toward avoidant dismissive. So, can you change an avoidant dismissive attachment style? The good news is yes, because attachment styles are fixable with work. While avoidant dismissive individuals may find it challenging to shift their patterns of relating to others, change is possible. Through therapy, self-awareness, and relationship experiences, it's possible to develop more secure attachment behaviors over time. Therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, working with a therapist who specializes in attachment theory, can be extremely beneficial. These approaches help you explore your fears around intimacy, understand your emotional needs, and develop healthier ways of relating to others. Additionally, building relationships with securely attached individuals can help ease the transition from avoidant to secure attachment. By experiencing a stable, emotionally available partner, you can slowly learn to trust and embrace emotional intimacy without feeling overwhelmed. If you identify with the avoidant dismissive attachment style, know that while it may feel safe to keep your distance, emotional connection is a fundamental human need. By understanding your attachment style and taking steps toward change, you can start building deeper, more fulfilling relationships. Stay tuned for the next video in this series, where we'll explore more attachment styles and how they impact your love life. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so that you're notified anytime we drop more helpful videos to enrich your life. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.